This just in, when you thought you were out of legendaries, they just pull you back in. Evokers are having a new legendary. Well, I mean, it's datamined, it's unconfirmed, but it's pretty much, I mean, as confirmed as an unconfirmed item could be, and it is what we would imagine the fist weapon from Neltharion in his cinematic-y trailer Drakthir memories, where, you know, Scaleomancer Emberthal goes with Nozdormu back in the past, and, you know, Nozdormu shows her all the things that Neltharion has did, and it is a legendary fist weapon. Now, it is a fist weapon so far. I don't know if this is final, but what we know so far about it is that, well, first of all, it's called Nazuro, the Unbound Legacy. Obviously, being a legacy, it's important because, you know, it's part of what Neltharion leaves behind. It is an item level 457, which is fat. It's probably the highest item level that we know so far from 10.1. I don't think there's any other weapon in the game that's gonna be better than this, at least for evokers. Obviously, it's strictly an evoker weapon. Now, it comes with Verse Mastery substats, which may be relevant, maybe not, but they might be relevant for Devastation. Because what this weapon does, and I quote, your Empower spells activate the Order magic within, releasing a sphere of order that seeks a powerful ally, increasing their primary stat by 500 and speed by 600 for 10 seconds. There are a lot of questions about this. First of all, this does not affect you. It does not affect you whatsoever, so you could think, oh, this might be a preservation weapon because you're going to be mainly using it to buff your allies. But at the same time, it is a very high eye-level legendary weapon that just gives a lot of raw stats for Devastation, and Devastation will definitely want those stats because it's probably just going to be good by the sheer fact that it just has a very high item level. So it's likely going to be biz for Devastation as well, although the actual weapon effect does not really affect you or your performance whatsoever, and that would probably go to, you know, a more support role. Support, you say? Once again, this effect really reminds us of the augmenter, the augmentation style playstyle where you just empower your allies. It's not a buff. Is that usually healers get kind of like a trade-off where you have, like, you know, the Broken Promise trinket from Vault of the Incarnates where you get some stats, your ally gets some stats, and we had those trinkets and effects before where there's a trade-off between you and your ally as well. This is purely going to affect your ally with zero effects on yourself. First of all, in terms of the effects. Second of all, there's some weird wording here that we still don't know what they're all about. What is a powerful ally? What does that mean? Does a powerful ally mean your tank, a specific role of your groups that this is going to go to? Is it going to go to a healer? In that case, what if you are the healer in a Mythic Plus dungeon and you're the only healer in? Does it go to you or does it go to somebody else? Can you buff yourself? Not really, because it does say a powerful ally, although sometimes these effects are a little bit misleading because when it says it affects allies, sometimes these effects will also affect you as well. So is it powerful ally the one that has the most amount of HP? Does it have the most amount of eye level? Because this can turn into some degenerate stuff. Imagine imagine this weapon actually affecting the highest item level person in your group. Yo, can you imagine? It's like, oh my god, I need the eye level because I need the buff. Okay, the fact that it is also random, maybe it's not a bad thing, but it can also create some kind of friction within the community. I can so see this. As a DPS player myself, right? If I'm going to like log myself and see how much I performed, how much damage I did, you're gonna have like an extra socket. Okay, am I getting PI for this fight? Yes, no. Am I getting the Unbound Legacies buff on myself? Yes, no. Oh, okay, well, this is like for people who are very interested in their performance, this might be a cause of a lot of friction within the group, but hey, listen. If this is the price that we have to pay to have cool items in the game, then this is really awesome, and I think it's fine. It's gonna make a lot of people upset, but I think this is great. And it's also great that we're kind of going more into the legendary theme, the way that the devs actually mentioned that they want to do legendaries, in the sense that they want to do legendaries whenever it makes sense. For instance, the Sylvanas legendary bow. Sylvanas is an iconic character within the lore and the world of Warcraft, so getting her weapon has to be a legendary, right? We have Ashbringer as well, right? We have the Doomhammer, which are, you know, granted artifact weapons, but still kind of legendary status, right? So obviously, if Evokers are ever going to get a weapon, it has to be something that Neltharion either had or created, and we kind of know that this gauntlet is part of that. Not to mention, prior to this leak, we've also had a snippet of the actual gauntlet being broken, found somewhere around the world. This was the initial teaser for the leak, and by the time we actually got to cover the subject, the legendary actual tooltip has also been released. Now, this kind of makes it seem like you're going to find this and through a questline you're going to repair it, and that's how you're going to get your weapon. But maybe Sarkrath is going to use it and we're going to kill him and the gauntlet is going to be broken, but we repair it and then we loot it. This is still kind of unconfirmed at this point. And Ian also already kind of confirmed it, saying that Invokers will kind of be interested in what Commander Sarkrath may have for them when we get there though. So not to mention that, you know, usually last bosses of an expansion are pretty much held under wraps until the raid launches, so you never get to test the last boss of the expansion. Not to mention the loot can also be hidden, so we don't know this yet until the raid actually releases and we see everything in the game. But I mean it's there, right? It even has the season 2 item level added to it, because if it was just like a datamined stuff, you'd probably have a lot of placeholder stuff. I don't think it would be this fleshed out, because once you look at the actual item, it definitely feels like it's an item that's gonna drop in this season. Now, once again, we can take this to mean that Evokers are just getting a legendary weapon that makes sense for Evokers to have, because it's an Evoker patch. We're exploring the legacy of the Evokers and the Drag tiers and all of that stuff, so it definitely makes sense. If you're not going to put a legendary now here, then I don't know when you're going to do it. But of course, we cannot not notice the fact that this still plays into the augmentations playstyle. Now, whether or not we're going to get the third spec as besides the point. Obviously, we're not going to get it in 10.1. Ian pretty much confirmed it, and I think we've kind of speculated to be at least in 10.2. Maybe by the end of 10.1 or 10.1.7, we're going to have a quest line like, listen, with the power of this weapon, you unlock your full potential as an augmenter type spec, right? We call it augmenter here. It's probably going to be something else or whatever. But that means that this weapon could also be the key into unlocking our third spec. Let's say we go into Abyss, we kill Commander Sarkrath, we get the pieces, we build the gauntlet, we have it now, and then in 10.1.7, oh, do you know that gauntlet that you've just looted after Sarkrath? Well, actually, it's going to unlock the full power of the Black Dragonflight magic within you, and boom, third spec in 10.2. Called it here, ladies and gentlemen, yes! Okay, it might not be that way, but it is pretty fun to speculate, and we keep just getting more clues that kind of point us into this direction, so I don't know what's gonna happen. The thing is, it's actually cool. And listen, Evokers kind of need a little bit of love if we're gonna talk like outside lore and outside game. Not a lot of people play Evokers. It's a fun class. Sure, it might not bring the flavor and the fantasy of demon hunters and monks and DKs, where it was a hero class that made sense. It was ingrained in the lore. This is kind of like the new kid on the block, and not many people vibe with it. And we're not even gonna talk about in the aesthetics and the skinny lizard stuff, because, you know, people have back and forth opinions about this. But I definitely think that this is a step in the right direction to bring a little bit more spotlight into Evokers as the new class/race/class race combo of Dragonflight. But what do you think? Do you think this is a good addition? Are you happy that your fellow Evokers are getting a legendary weapon? It doesn't really matter. Let them have fun, man. And do you think people are going to ask for this buff? Obviously, it doesn't matter because it's random. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you, patrons, for supporting the content, and stay tuned, like and subscribe, because we're gonna have more of these videos as more information about 10.1 launches. Take it easy.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classical retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.